Yeah. Once upon a time, there were two men who were involved in a car chase in New York City. However, they would not leave empty-handed. New York police wanted to hand these two men in. These American men were extremely dangerous, and they warned the public not to approach the two men. If they had seen them, they wanted them just to call the police. However, this was going to explode into life. The two men were on the run. They headed towards the underground. The men were not messing around, but the police had their men. Well, they thought that, but the men got on the metro and headed northbound. Later that afternoon, the police gave a brief statement that they described the two men who were on the run. The police had no idea where they headed. It is believed that two men are no longer in the city. It's believed that they headed towards Florida. But there are rumours that they could have gone to Detroit or Washington, D.C. It's really unclear where the men have headed, but what is known is these two men have caused a really serious offence. They took money from a bank in the city centre of New York. It's a real mystery. Yeah, it's a real mystery where the men are. The next day, New York police took the search. The brothers of the two men urged them to hand themselves in. It would be really unclear if these men would ever get caught. The men were not giving in that easily. They wanted to get away. They believed they didn't do anything wrong. They feel nothing was wrong, and there was not any problems. Late that afternoon, the police came up with a plan. They would try and locate where these two men were. It showed that the two men were in Florida. There were some police in Florida who were looking out for the two men who New York City were looking for. How would this all unfold? How did these men get away from New York? Whatever this situation, New York police would not give in. But the next minute, the two men, they made their move again. They would get on the plane and head to Moscow in Russia. But as they attempted to get on the plane, they caught the two of them. Only for them both to get away from the police. It was proving to be a really difficult situation for them. The American men, they got away. How would the scenario end? Would the two men hand themselves in, or would the Russian police eventually catch them after nearly 12 hours? This episode was starting to be like a circus now. However, there was a twist to the story. The men got on the plane and headed back to the USA. Could this be the breakthrough at last for New York City police? For New York police, sorry. The two men, they got away with $20,000, $30,000 from the bank in the city centre of New York. Finally, the police had their men and they were handcuffed. It wasn't yet clear how long they'd face in prison in New York, but at last the police arrested the two men. They got put in the police vans, and they would go to prison for taking $20,000, $30,000 from the bank. These men all they were after was the money. However, in an unbelievable turn of events, the two men jumped out of the police car. This was quite unbelievable. How did the two men get out of the car? How can they do this? The events have been nothing short of extraordinary, quite extraordinary. If I've got to be honest with you, nobody quite knows how the men managed to get away with $20,000, $30,000. It's remarkable how they got away with that much money. Later that evening, the men, they would go shopping in the city centre, they would buy some cigarettes, and then they would head back to their apartments in the city centre of New York. The police were still on the lookout for the two men. They had the two men before, but then they got away out of the police car, and then they jumped on the underground and headed back towards their apartments. They worked in a bar not far from the beach in New York, but the two men, they would lend their fates. Their employees called them in and decided to fire them and give them their P40s for taking money from a bank. However, the two men took no notice, and they refused to leave the bar. They did not obey their employer, who was named Sean Thomas. The two men were named Anderson Jones and Andrew Long. They were between 24 and 26 years old. They had a history of manslaughter, but Sean Thomas, when he took them,
before in your Monday or Tuesday.
When he took them both on, he wanted to forgive them. And forget about their recent histories. He wanted to draw a line, but the final straw was when they took money from the bank. Sean Thomas, he would call security to remove them from the bar, but the two men, they would refuse to do what the security asked them to do. The two men, They would get sent home by Sean Thomas. However, their parents would receive a phone call from Sean Thomas. The two men, they did a runner from their parents. They would pack their suitcases and would head to Germany. They went to Berlin, where they would live together in a two-bedroom apartment. Yeah, so in a two-bedroom flat. However, back in New York, their parents looked for them. They could not see them. They did not know where they had gone. Sean Thomas ordered Anderson Jones and Andrew Long to come back to New York. However, they refused and would stay in Berlin. Their parents, who were named as Charles Jones and Sophia Jones and John Long and Isabella Long, they would go on the lookout for their sons Anderson Jones and Andrew Long. Yes, sorry, they would go on the lookout for their sons Anderson Jones and Andrew Long would never speak to Sean Thomas again, but Sean Thomas, he contacted Anderson Jones and Andrew Long. However, Anderson Jones and Andrew Long, they would refuse to pick up his phone calls. So Anderson Jones and Andrew Long, they went to the phone shop in Berlin and said to the assistant they wanted to change their numbers. Yeah, wanted to change their numbers so they couldn't hear anything from their parents or from their boss, Sean Thomas. However, when Sean Thomas and Charles Jones and Sophia Jones and John Long and Isabella Long tried contacting, they would have no luck as their old phone numbers were out of use. New York police liaised with Berlin police, gave them a description of Anderson Jones and Andrew Long, but Anderson Jones and Andrew Long would get a job as professional boxers. They would make money by fighting some big names such as David Haye, Vladimir Klitschko, Tyson Fury, and Sam Jenkinson. That's done. You should have